Imagine spending billions of dollars in modern clinical trials, only to discover that the ultimate blueprint for cardiovascular health, gut repair, and immune defense was already written down thousands of years ago. Long before microscopes even existed, ancient civilizations were using a highly specific, tissue-regenerating enzyme found in a common fruit and literally paying pyramid builders with a pungent root that modern science now recognizes as a ruthless, broad-spectrum antibiotic. You've been sold the lie that peak human health requires expensive lab-synthesized supplements. But pharmaceutical companies are currently spending fortunes trying to isolate and patent the exact biochemical compounds naturally found in 10 specific foods recorded in the Bible. Modern clinical researchers are putting these ancient sacred texts under the microscope, and they are completely stunned by what they are finding. There is a liquid gold mentioned in Scripture that we now know actively switches off inflammatory genes at the cellular level. There is a seed so nutritionally dense it was traded as hard currency to keep empires alive. But you need to pay very close attention to the ordinary staple we are going to reveal at number 4, because scientists have just discovered it contains a unique antimicrobial matrix that destroys modern superbugs on contact. The wellness industry doesn't want you to know about these ancient nutritional weapons, because you can bypass their expensive pills and buy these exact same healing foods right now at your local grocery store. Look around at the current state of our health. We are living in a terrifying paradox. We have access to the most sophisticated medical infrastructure in human history. We spend over $40 billion a year on synthetic vitamins, aggressively engineered supplements, and hyper-targeted pharmaceuticals. Yet, autoimmune diseases are exploding, our gut microbiomes are essentially barren wastelands, and chronic low-grade inflammation is the undisputed silent killer of the 21st century. We are the most overfed yet severely malnourished generation to ever walk the earth. You probably wake up exhausted, rely on synthetic caffeine just to function, and pop over-the-counter pills to mask the symptoms of a body that is desperately crying out for real, bioavailable nutrients. The modern food industry has actively hijacked your biology. They have stripped the life-giving enzymes out of your food for the sake of long-term shelf stability, only to have the pharmaceutical industry sell those exact same enzymes back to you in an expensive plastic bottle. But thousands of years ago, in the harsh, unforgiving climates of the ancient Near East, people survived extreme physical labor and constant exposure to pathogens without a single pharmacy in sight. They didn't eat empty calories. They ingested highly concentrated, bioactive compounds that physically communicated with their DNA. Let's break open this ancient pharmacy, starting at number 10. Dates. The ancients revered the date palm as the tree of life, and modern clinical trials are finally catching up to this ancient wisdom. You might look at a date and just see a natural sweetener. But clinical researchers see a highly complex matrix of polyphenols, sterols, and flavonoids. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology revealed something miraculous. Pregnant women who consumed dates in the final weeks of gestation experienced significantly higher cervical dilation and a dramatically reduced need for synthetic oxytocin. These fruits literally possess the biochemical capability to modulate human hormone production. Furthermore, dates contain a unique tannin structure that acts as a ruthless scavenger against free radicals, actively protecting your cellular DNA from oxidative stress and accelerated aging. At number 9 is a grain that modern, heavily processed agriculture has completely pushed aside. Barley. This wasn't just a biblical staple. It was the ultimate metabolic regulator of the ancient world. The Roman Empire literally called their elite, undefeated gladiators hordeari, which directly translates to eaters of barley. They didn't feed their greatest warriors heavy meats for strength, they fed them this specific grain for unparalleled bone density and explosive stamina. Today, modern endocrinologists are fascinated by barley because it contains massive concentrations of beta-glucan. This highly specific soluble fiber doesn't just passively sit in your digestive tract. It acts like a biological sponge in your bloodstream, trapping excess bile acids and actively forcing your liver to pull cholesterol out of your blood. It physically blunts the massive insulin spikes that are driving today's global obesity and diabetic epidemics. But right here is where you need to completely shift how you look at the food on your plate. We have been conditioned to believe that ancient civilizations simply got lucky, that they were primitive people who stumbled upon healthy plants by pure geographical accident. But nutritional geneticists are now discovering a reality that turns everything we know about modern nutrition upside down. The biochemical profiles of these specific biblical foods don't just happen to be healthy. Their molecular structures act as perfectly matched lock-and-key mechanisms designed to repair the exact genetic damage caused by our toxic 21st century environment. It's as if these ancient people weren't just foraging, they were following a highly advanced biological survival manual. And what scientists just found inside food number 8 completely shatters the illusion of modern medicine. At number 8, figs. In the book of Isaiah, a poultice of figs was used to bring a dying king back from the brink. Modern doctors used to laugh at this as ancient folklore. They aren't laughing anymore. Clinical pharmacologists recently isolated a highly active proteolytic enzyme inside figs called phycin. This enzyme doesn't just digest food. When applied to human tissue, it acts as a biological scalpel. It selectively breaks down dead, necrotic cells while leaving healthy tissue completely untouched. It accelerates wound healing at a cellular level that synthetic ointments still struggle to replicate. Figs also deliver a massive payload of potassium and calcium, physically overriding the bone-leaching effects of today's high-sodium diets. But if you think a fruit that performs microscopic surgery is impressive, wait until you see the ancient seed that literally fueled entire economies. Number 7. Pistachios. In the ancient Near East, these weren't just a snack, they were hard currency. When famine struck, pistachios were sent as highly prized diplomatic gifts to Egyptian royalty to secure alliances. Why? Because the ancients knew they were the ultimate compact survival ration. Today, neuroscientists are absolutely blown away by their chemical profile. Pistachios are one of the only foods on Earth containing massive, bioavailable concentrations of lutein and zeaxanthin, compounds that physically cross the blood-brain barrier. They don't just protect your eyes from macular degeneration, they actively increase the neural processing speed in your brain's prefrontal cortex. You are literally eating cognitive high-performance fuel. But while pistachios optimize your brain, the food at number 6 contains a cellular compound so powerful it's currently being studied to stop aging dead in its tracks. Number 6 is the pomegranate. It's mentioned over 50 times in scripture, carved into the pillars of ancient temples and stitched into the garments of high priests. For centuries, it was an untouchable symbol of life and vitality. Now, oncologists and geneticists know exactly why. When you consume a pomegranate, you aren't just getting basic vitamins. You are ingesting punicalagins, some of the most aggressive, free radical-destroying antioxidants ever discovered by human science. But here is the biological magic trick. When these compounds hit your gut microbiome, your bacteria metabolize them into a highly specialized molecule called urolithin A. This molecule does something terrifying to weak cells. It triggers a strict biological process called mitophagy. It literally forces your aging, defective cells to recycle their own dying mitochondria. It hits the hard reset button on your cellular age. The pharmaceutical industry is currently spending millions trying to patent synthetic urolithin A in a lab. You can get it right now just by slicing open a pomegranate. But fixing your cells is completely useless if your immune system is compromised, and the ancients had a terrifyingly effective weapon for that. Number 5. Garlic. It's the pungent bulb that built the ancient world. Historical records reveal that Egyptian pharaohs practically purchased the labor of the pyramid builders using massive daily rations of raw garlic. They didn't do this for flavor. They did it because millions of men packed together in extreme heat would have caused a catastrophic bacterial plague. The ancients used garlic as an unstoppable biological shield. Today, microbiologists have finally cracked the code on how it works. When you crush a clove of garlic, a violent chemical reaction occurs, instantly creating a compound called allicin. Allicin is a ruthless, broad-spectrum antimicrobial weapon. It obliterates modern superbugs. It punctures the cell walls of harmful bacteria, paralyzes viral replication, and neutralizes fungal infections on contact. But unlike modern antibiotics that carpet bomb your entire digestive tract, killing the good bacteria with the bad, allicin acts like a guided missile. It targets the pathogens and leaves your vital gut microbiome completely intact. It is a level of biological precision that modern medicine is still trying to engineer. Yet, as powerful as garlic is against sickness, it doesn't even come close to the anti-inflammatory miracle scientists just uncovered at number 4. Number 4 is onions. It is the most ordinary, overlooked item sitting in your pantry right now. You chop it up without a second thought. But to modern biochemists, the onion is a highly sophisticated, anti-inflammatory miracle. Remember that ordinary staple we warned you about? This is it. Science has just discovered that onions contain a unique antimicrobial matrix driven by highly concentrated sulfur compounds and an aggressive antioxidant called quercetin. Quercetin doesn't just reduce swelling. It physically infiltrates your cells and violently shuts down the production of cytokines, the exact proteins responsible for chronic systemic inflammation. But that is not even the most shocking part. Clinical studies now show that the biochemical matrix of raw onions actively disrupts something called bacterial quorum sensing. It literally blinds modern superbugs, preventing them from communicating and multiplying, destroying their cellular defenses on contact. The builders of the ancient world consumed these by the bushel, perfectly fortifying their immune systems against extreme environments that should have killed them. Number 3 is a biological anomaly that completely defies the laws of food science: raw honey. If you find a jar of pure, unheated honey in an ancient Egyptian tomb today, it is still perfectly safe to eat. It never spoils. The ancients considered it a sacred medicine, but modern pathology sees a ruthlessly efficient living chemical weapon. Raw honey is an enzymatic matrix. When it comes into contact with human tissue or pathogens, the naturally occurring glucose oxidase enzyme produces a slow, sustained release of hydrogen peroxide. It acts as an inescapable death trap for bacteria. Hospitals are currently using medicinal-grade honey to treat severe wounds and burns because it absolutely obliterates antibiotic-resistant superbugs like MRSA. It physically draws the moisture out of bacterial cells, collapsing them from the inside out while simultaneously feeding human tissue the exact growth factors needed to rapidly regenerate skin. At number 2, almonds. In ancient texts, the almond branch was the ultimate symbol of miraculous life and rapid awakening. Today, nutritional geneticists realize how literal that symbol truly is. You have been told to eat almonds for basic protein, but the pharmaceutical industry is far more interested in what these ancient seeds do to your brain and gut. Almond skins contain a highly specific prebiotic fiber profile that modern engineered probiotics try and fail to replicate. This fiber acts as a targeted fertilizer for the exact strains of gut bacteria responsible for producing serotonin and dopamine. Furthermore, almonds deliver a massive payload of bioavailable vitamin E directly across the blood-brain barrier, acting as a relentless scavenger against the oxidative stress that causes cognitive decline. You aren't just eating a snack, you are biologically bulletproofing your neurological system. But everything we have covered leads to the undisputed king of ancient medicine, the ultimate biochemical weapon. Number 1. Extra virgin olive oil. This is the sacred liquid gold that anointed kings and fueled entire empires. Modern cardiology and genomics have put olive oil under the microscope, and what they found fundamentally changed our understanding of human biology. Researchers recently isolated a phenolic compound inside high-quality olive oil called oleocanthal. The discovery was completely accidental because scientists noticed it produced the exact same stinging sensation in the back of the throat as liquid ibuprofen. When they analyzed it, they were stunned. Oleocanthal is a natural, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, but it goes so much deeper than pain relief. When you consume real, unrefined olive oil, this compound physically enters your cells and aggressively switches off the COX-1 and COX-2 inflammatory genes. It forcefully alters your gene expression, shutting down the cellular fires that lead to heart disease, neurological decay, and rapid aging. This is the ultimate revelation. The billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry wants you trapped in a cycle of synthetic dependency, convincing you that true peak health requires lab-engineered molecules in expensive plastic bottles. But the veil has finally been lifted. The precise lock-and-key mechanisms required to heal your gut, optimize your brain, and rebuild your immune system at the fundamental DNA level were already given to us thousands of years ago. These are not just primitive foods. They are highly advanced, biologically perfect survival codes written into the very fabric of nature, waiting for you to simply take them back. You now hold the biological keys to rewrite your genetic destiny, but the medical establishment is terrified of what happens when you actually start using them. These 4 ingredients are just the foundation of a much larger, suppressed ancient protocol. Knowing these survival codes exist is one thing. Knowing exactly how to activate their enzymatic matrix without destroying their volatile compounds is entirely another. If you heat that raw honey or pair that extra virgin olive oil with the wrong modern chemical, you instantly neutralize their DNA repairing capabilities. The billion-dollar system wants you making those exact dietary mistakes so you remain perpetually dependent on their synthetic alternatives. You need the precise blueprint to weaponize these foods daily. That is exactly why we engineered a step-by-step breakdown on how to properly extract and combine these ancient compounds for maximum cellular regeneration. It is on your screen right now. Click this video to discover the catastrophic food pairing mistakes you are making that silently destroy these vital nutrients and learn the exact daily protocol the ancients used to achieve total biological fortification. And if you refuse to be just another profitable patient for the pharmaceutical industry, hit the subscribe button. We are decoding the suppressed science of peak human survival every single week. Do not let the truth get buried. Click the video on your screen right now, step out of the synthetic matrix, and take your biology back.